Hi everyone, welcome to Mindful Crafts and More. I'm Katrina. If this is your first time checking out my channel, welcome. Take a look at this video or any of my other videos, and if you find yourself inspired, join my channel. Those of you who are returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you just hanging out with me for a bit. So, hi everyone. Today I'd like to show you how to make a beautiful butterfly using a technique that I thought was new, but actually is not very new at all. It is called Cro Tatting. And Cro Tatting or crochet tatting is something that kind of combines both tatting along with crochet to make beautiful lacework and beautiful items. So it really does open up possibilities to do quite a few things. Now, there aren't a whole lot of people who are doing it now, and there's not a lot of information out there right now. However, in the past, there was quite a bit of information, and a lot of people did it. In fact, I found that in looking into this, early publications way back in 1868, Harper's Bazaar went ahead and put out in their publication number, let's see, I think it was volume 1, number 17, they put out instructions on how to do Cro Tatting. And I think that is just awesome. So I was able to actually go in the archived historical records where they actually go ahead and digitize old publications so that they can keep them for historical purposes. I was actually able to take a look at it. And if you go on the website, I believe Cornell University is the one who has a library, and they are responsible for just cataloging all these beautiful publications. You can take a look and you can see it. All right. So it's just awesome. And it's beautiful to be able to see crafting that has been done and has kind of endured the test of time. All right. So Cro Tatting, what is it? Well, it's actually a form of crochet, but then it also uses tatting, which is very similar to needle tatting techniques. It is a little different because the tools that are used are a little different as well. So I thought while I was going ahead and learning how to do tatting and showing you guys what I had learned, I may as well go ahead and include this technique as well. Now, in looking for it, you don't find a whole lot out there about it. So I really had to look hard to try to find books, patterns, and tools in order to do it. Okay, so what I was able to find was there was someone who had purchased an old kit that came with the tools and a booklet with some patterns, and it was actually published by Annie's Attic. This was published back in 2001, and to be honest, I guess the person may have purchased it and then just later decided that they didn't want to try to do it. I'm not sure, but it was a good thing because I was able to take advantage of that, and I made a purchase and got it delivered. So this is what I'm referring to. It is called Learn How to Cro Tat the Easy Way, and it was from Annie's Attic. Okay, so in here, there are 9 different patterns that you can use to make beautiful items, from very small motifs like a butterfly or a flower, all the way up to larger things such as beautiful doilies, this basket, and even lace work that you can use to embellish lots of things. So just awesome, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and look into this kit. So it came in a really nice sleeve, and it comes complete with a Cro Tatting hook, all right? And it also came with thread. How about that? Now, in looking at the thread, to me, it has a feel like it's perhaps mercerized cotton, maybe a size 10, I believe. Now, I'm not sure if the previous owner actually made anything with it or not. I don't know. And there is no label or anything on it. So there's no way to tell. So I can just make a guess as to what I think the fiber is and everything. It's probably 100% cotton, most likely. Okay. Also, in the book and looking through the book, it does recommend for the hook, it recommends a size 10. So I'm also making an assumption based on that. All right, so I can show you the main page here. And on this main page, it shows you different things that you can make with it. And so look at all these wonderful things that you can make with the Cro Tatting hook. They are just beautiful. And it's just a beautiful combination of crochet and tatting, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the hook. Okay, so looking at the hook, it has a plastic handle and it's an elongated handle, and it actually feels pretty soft and comfortable as I grip it. All right. And it is something that won't push into your hand as you're using it. And it's not really big and bulky to use. So that is just wonderful. Now, looking here, the whole long shaft of this needle or hook is the same diameter, if you can see. But when you get to the hook itself is very small in comparison. And that's because of the way you have to do the stitches and whatnot in order to make your rings and to make your chains, okay? So as we work with it, then hopefully you will understand why the hook is made the way it is, all right? Okay, so I would like to start out just by simply making a ring, just a plain ring, just as we did in our intro for tatting when we used the shuttle and the needle. Okay, so hold on for a moment. Let's go ahead and see how this technique is similar or different from the other two that we have explored. Okay, hold on for a moment. All right, so here we are. The first thing that we're going to try to do is just make this ring. And in making the ring, which is a basic structure for tatting, we can learn the technique very easily and hopefully get acquainted with it. And then after that, we'll try to make something else. All right. So this is the ring that we're going to be making. Very easy, just doing double stitches and then learning how to close it to form the ring. All we need in order to do this is our Cro Tatting hook, some size 10 crochet cotton, and a pair of scissors. All right, so let's move these things out the way and let's get started. All right, so the first thing that we need to do for Cro Tatting is to make a slip knot. You can make a slip knot however it's comfortable for you. I'm going to leave maybe about 5 inches on the tail end, and I'm going to put the slip knot on my Cro Tatting hook with the tail away from me and the working thread in front of me. Okay. All right. So now we're going to make double stitches. And as I said earlier, Cro Tatting is very similar to needle tatting. So the double stitches can be made exactly the same way. Now, the difference between this and what I told you guys before is for Cro Tatting, I do recommend you holding the Cro Tatting hook in the same hand that you would use to crochet and to actually do your tatted stitches with your non-dominant hand. Okay, so it's a different thing from the other. And the reason is because sometimes in this technique, you're going to be doing crochet stitches. And so you have to make sure that you're using the correct orientation for your stitches as well as your tatting to make sure that everything matches up. Okay. All right. So we're going to just put our finger on our slip knot just to keep it in place for a little bit. And we're going to begin to do our double stitches. Okay, so the first half of the double stitch, we're going to grab our thread with our hand loosely, and we're going to use our forefinger to wrap around frontwise and around, and then to pick up the top part of that loop and then just slide it over. All right, so that's the first half. For the second half, we're going to wrap it around the back of our finger and bend our finger forward and then scoop up from behind and then slide it over. All right. So hopefully you can see that that is a double stitch. Now, as you look at it, you should see that there are actually 3 strands there. That is because we started out with a slip knot, and that is okay. It will not interfere with our overall look of our ring or chain that we make. It is just part of Cro Tatting that is a little different from our needle tatting, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and make our second double stitch. We're gonna wrap and pick up and slide. And we're gonna wrap and pick up from behind and slide. Okay, so that is 2 double stitches. I want you to go ahead and make 18 more double stitches for a total of 20. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and work on mine, and then I will stop and show you the next step. Okay, let's get to doing our double stitches. Okay, so I am back, and here we have 20 double stitches. I hope you didn't have any trouble with that. If you did, you can always feel free to slow down the video when I have it sped up, and hopefully that will help. Or I will put a link in the description box below for the intro that I did showing you how to make a ring with needle and shuttle tatting, and hopefully that will help also, okay? All right, so now the next thing that we need to do is we need to close this up so that we can form a ring. Now, one of the differences between needle tatting and Cro Tatting is we're going to connect our stitches by picking up a loop and bringing it through the front end of the stitches. When we did our needle tatting, we pulled it through from the back end. So that is a difference. The other difference is because we're pulling our loop through, we will actually end up with 2 strands of thread that's being worked through our stitches instead of 1 like we have when we do our needle tatting, okay? So that's just 2 differences that I have found as I have been learning how to do it, okay? All right, so here we go. This is the technique. Now you're gonna take your thread, I'm gonna wrap it around my small finger, through my hand, and then over my forefinger. This is actually how I keep my tension as I crochet. If you have a different way, that's okay. I will explain what I am doing so that you can understand. And that way, if you do it a little different, it's perfectly fine as long as you understand the technique so that you can have a correct loop to make your ring. All right. So now I have my hand so that I have a little bit of tension. Now, you notice I have a space between here. The reason I have a space here is because this is going to be what goes through our tatted ring. So I have a space, and I'm going to take my ring finger and I'm going to just kind of hold it down. All right. And I'm going to now pick up a loop from here with my hook. And I'm going to slide my stitches forward while trying to maintain this tension here. What I don't want to do is pull too much here. And the reason is because, as you see, that was my last double stitch. And if I pull too much here, then it's going to tighten this and I won't be able to get my hook through there. Okay. So you just have to be really careful as you do it. Keep the tension, but not too much. Okay. So let's go ahead and see if this works. Okay, it worked, and I was able to pull it through. Now, as you see, I pulled the loop through over here, but I still maintained the loop with my finger. And that's why I moved my ring finger down so that I could create that loop. Now I'm going to just take my hook And I'm going to grab that loop from my ring finger and remove my finger, keeping that on the hook. Okay, so now I just need to tighten this so that it can become a ring. If I pull on this back loop here, then it should make that loop smaller. And now I just need to pull here. Okay, but I have to keep adjusting. Okay, so you just have to keep adjusting until you get your ring there. We go. Okay, so you have to keep adjusting by pulling on this back and then pulling the front. All right, so now I have my ring the way I want it, and it's nice and tight, and it's going to hold my stitches together very nicely. Now I just need to yarn over and pull my hook through both of those loops, and I do it one at a time. So 1 and 2. All right, so I'm going to pull this loop a little bit so that you can see. But that's how you make a crow tatted ring. All right, so I know that was a little fiddly, but I'll do another one so that I can show you how to do it again. Okay, I'm going to put my hook back in. I'm going to pull it tight so that it's close. And let's do 20 double stitches again, okay? Just so that you can see how it's done, okay? Okay, so we have our 20 double stitches. Now let's go ahead and wrap around our finger, and give ourselves some space. Yarn over. Pull through. Pick up the loop off of our finger, remove our finger, pull on this back thread here, and tighten with the front. Again, we're pulling on the back thread and tightening, back thread and tightening until we get our ring stitches to come together. Then we yarn over and pull it through the first and the second loop. And we now have 2 rings. All right, so that's how you do a ring with crow tatting. All right, now if you wanted to do something else with that, you absolutely can do something with it. These 2 rings are not connected by anything other than the chain that was at the bottom. So you could maybe turn this into an infinity sign or something like that. Or again, you could continue to build on it and turn it into quite a few beautiful things. All right. I hope this is helpful for you guys. All right. Now, are you ready? Would you like to go ahead and work on our butterfly? I hope so. All right. So let's get things together so that we can work on our butterfly. All right. Hold on for a moment. All right, guys, I am back. And these are the materials that we will need to make this beautiful tatted butterfly. This is the same pattern that we have used in our previous tatting tutorials to show you how to do an easy beginner project. It is comprised of rings, picots, and joins. It makes for a very easy beginner project where you can just spend a little bit of time and have some success and have a beautiful product that you have completed. All right. So the materials needed to make our butterfly are a pair of scissors, our Cro Tatting hook, and crochet thread. Today I am using Aunt Lydia's classic crochet thread in a size 10, and that is the recommended size for this Cro Tatting hook that came in our kit. All right, so let's go ahead and move these things out the way and let's get started making our beautiful butterfly. All right, so we're ready to get started. Let's go ahead and make a slip knot. You can make your initial slip knot maybe about 5 inches from the end. Leave a tail of about 5 inches or so. Go ahead and put it on your hook, and you're going to have the tail away from you and your working thread toward you. I do recommend using your dominant hand to hold your Cro Tatting hook, and the reason for that is sometimes you will need to do crochet stitches, and that way it will be easy for you to do your crochet. In addition to that, the way the tatted rings and chains are placed in your work, the orientation of it does matter. And so if you have it done so that you are doing your tatted stitches with your non-dominant hand and you're doing your crochet stitches with your dominant hand, then everything should line up properly and be in the right orientation. All right, so we are ready. Let's go ahead and do our double stitches. We're going to begin with the first ring by doing 6 double stitches followed by a small picot, and then we'll make 7 more double stitches followed by a large picot, followed by making 7 more double stitches followed by a small picot, followed by 5 double stitches. All right, and when we do a recap, the numbers will be different, but that's because our picots actually count for a double stitch. All right, and I did explain that in a previous video, so I'll put the information across the screen so that you guys can see if you haven't seen that video, and hopefully that will help. Okay, so let's get started with 6 double stitches. You're going to hold the thread in your hand gently, and you're going to use your forefinger to do the double stitches. Wrap it around the front and pick up that top loop, and then wrap it around back, bend, and pick up the loop from the back. That's double stitch number 1, and let's go ahead and do 5 more. All right, next we're going to make a small picot. A picot is formed by doing the first half of the double stitch and leaving a space. So I have a space there. All right, now we're going to do the second half of the double stitch, and you lock it in and slide it over. All right, so there is my picot. All right, okay, so now we're going to do 7 more double stitches. All right, so we have our 7 double stitches for a total of 8 because that first picot actually counted as the first double stitch of the next group. Now let's go ahead and make a large picot. And if you see here, I'm leaving a larger space, and we'll finish it. And you see we have a nice large picot. All right, So now from here, we're going to do 7 more double stitches. Okay, so now we're going to do a small picot, followed by 5 more double stitches. All right, so we have all of the stitches and picots for our first ring here. Let's do a recap. So we did 6 double stitches, small picot, 8 double stitches, large picot, 8 double stitches, small picot, 6 double stitches. All right, so that should be your stitch count if you count all of your stitches going across. Now let's go ahead and close this ring. In order to close a ring for Cro Tatting, it is a little different. We're going to be pulling the thread through from the front of our stitches rather than the back of our stitches. And we're going to be pulling 2 threads through because we're going to make a loop as we do so. All right. So let's go ahead and move our stitches a little bit towards the front so they don't have too far to travel. And then we're going to head and create some tension. So wrapping around my small finger through the middle portion of my hand, over my forefinger, and then I'm going to create a little bit of a space using my ring finger. All right. Now I'm just going to pick up this loop here using my hook, and I have to turn it and rotate it a little bit. And in addition to that, I'm rotating my stitches. Okay. So I'm going to rotate it a little bit, and I'm going to try to keep tension without pulling on my double stitches. So hopefully I will be able to do that. Okay. So let's go ahead and try. Now, sometimes my stitches get caught and I'm not able to do it. And that seems to be the case. But if you wiggle, you should be able to pull it through, which I was able to do. All right, so that did not go easy, but that's okay. I was able to do it and hold on to my stitches. Now, let's go ahead and insert into the hook. And you see my stitches here. Now I have a loop here and I have a loop here. I'm going to pick up that loop, put it on my hook, and now I'm going to pull on this back loop here to try to bring this front loop closer. Okay, so I'm just pulling on that back loop. Now, as I do that, I'm going to pull on this front thread, and in doing that, that's making that back loop smaller. All right. So again, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can do a rocking motion, or you can do what I did so that you could actually see what I was doing. Now, those are my stitches. Let's go ahead and close. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm simply going to pull through this first loop as well as this back loop. Okay, so now I have all of my stitches onto the ring and onto the threads, and that's our first ring. All right, so let's turn it a little bit so that we can recap so you guys can see what we have done. So here's our first ring. We started over here. We did 6 double stitches, picot, 8 double stitches, large picot, 8 double stitches, small picot, 6 double stitches. Okay, hopefully you guys will be able to see that. Now let's go into ring number 2. I just want to make sure initially that I at least have it a little taut. And now we're going to make 6 double stitches. All right, so we have our 6 double stitches. Now we want to join it to the picot. Now, I noticed that the picots are not as easy to see once we have now brought our threads through. But if you look carefully, you should be able to see that our picot is right here. All right, so I'm going to take a steel crochet hook and I'm just going to kind of go to enhance it a little bit so that you can hopefully see it. Okay, so that's our picot right there. All right. Now you can do one of two things. You can do the same thing that we did with our needle tatting, where we just used our steel hook to pull it through and put it on here, or you can choose to go through it and use your hook. The only trick is you want to make sure that you are not letting go of your stitches here. So you can go in and you can pick up and go in that picot, yarn over, and then pull it out of the picot. And now you have it attached. Okay, so hopefully you can see that, and it is now attached. Okay, so now we need to just go back to doing our double stitches. So let's go ahead and do 6 more double stitches. All right, so we've done 6 double stitches. Let's now go ahead and make a large picot. Let's do 5 more double stitches. Let's do a small picot. All right, so now we need to do 5 more double stitches. Okay, let's do our recap of ring number 2. We did 6 double stitches. We joined it to the picot of the last ring. Then we did 6 double stitches, large picot, 6 double stitches, small picot, 6 double stitches. All right, so now let's go ahead and close our ring. All right, that one went through a lot easier than the previous one. I'm always kind of holding my breath as I do this because this is very new to me. All right, so now let's go ahead and pick up our loop that we were holding. And this time I'm going to try that rocking motion again. So you can pull on the last one and then you're going to pull through with the one with your thread in the front. Okay, so you're going to pull and rock, pull and rock. And you're going to do that until you have pulled a sufficient amount of thread through such that your ring can be made, okay? All right, so I think that is pretty good. Let's go ahead and do our yarn over and pull through and pull through. All right, so that is ring number 2. So now we have 1 and 2. Let's go on to ring number 3. Ring number 3 is going to be exactly the same number of stitches as ring number 2. So we're going to start out with 6 double stitches. All right, so now we're going to join to the last picot of the last ring that we did. All right, so I have joined it now. We're going to go ahead and do 6 more double stitches. All right, we're going to make a large picot. Now we're going to do 5 more double stitches. And now we're going to do a small picot. And we're going to do 5 more double stitches. Okay, so we have completed all the picots and double stitches for ring number 3. Again, let's do a recap. We did 6 double stitches, join, 6 double stitches, large picot, 6 double stitches, small picot, 6 double stitches. Let's go ahead and close this ring. All right, so I have pulled them all through. Let's go ahead and pick up this loop that I have held with my ring finger. And we're going to go ahead and now pull on this back thread here. And as we do that, you should see the front getting smaller. And now we're going to pull on the working thread, and that brings the back together. All right, so that holds our ring together. And you can continue to do that as you're trying to bring your ring closer so that your rings will be of similar size. Okay, now let's go ahead and yarn over and pull through the front and the back loops. All right, so that is our ring. That is number 3. And let's recap. This is ring number 1. This is ring number 2. And this is now ring number 3. let's go ahead and do our last ring. All right, so we are ready to do our last ring. This last ring will be 6 double stitches, join, followed by 8 double stitches, large picot, make 7 more double stitches, small picot, make 5 more double stitches. And then when you do the recap, you will know all of the stitches that you should have on your hook. All right, so just follow the ones that I just told you, and hopefully that will help. All right, so let's go. First, we'll do 6 double stitches. All right, so now we need to join to the last picot of the last ring. All right, so I now have it joined. It was a little difficult for me to see, so if you guys saw that, sometimes it is difficult. One way you can do that is you can take a crochet hook that's really small, and you can just enhance your picots so that you can see them a little bit better, and that will help as well, okay? So now let's go ahead and do 8 double stitches. All right, so let's go ahead and do a large picot. Now we're going to do 7 more double stitches. Okay, let's do a small picot. Next, we're going to do 6 double stitches. Instead, we're going to do 5 double stitches. All right, so we have now completed all of the double stitches and picots for ring number 4. And you should have 6 double stitches joined to the picot of the last ring, 8 double stitches, large picot, 8 double stitches, small picot, 6 double stitches. All right, and just remember, when you're doing picots, the picot counts as the first stitch of the next grouping. But when you're doing joining picots, they do not. So that's why, as I was describing what we needed to do, I had to clarify what I was doing. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and close up this ring. I'm going to move the stitches closer. I'm going to make sure I have my hook in the right place so that I can then go ahead and catch my loop. Let's go ahead and create a little bit of tension. Give ourselves a little space to work with and go ahead and make our yarn over. All right. So now let's see if we can pull this and get this all together without creating too much tension for our work. Here we go. All right, so I did have to wiggle just a little bit. You have to have patience. You have to make sure you're not creating too much tension so that you can actually pull the hook through. All right, so I now have it. I'm going to go ahead and pick up this loop that I have been holding, and I'm going to go ahead and pull on the back and then pull on the front and then pull on the back a little more and then pull on the front. And in doing that, as you see, we have our two threads that are coming through because it's being held together by the loop that we made. All right. Okay. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. And I'm hoping that I have pulled enough so that my rings are close. This one is a little harder for me to eyeball, so I'm just hoping that I have it. Now let's go ahead and close it by doing a yarn over and pull through the first loop and the second loop. All right, now I can adjust it if I need to. I want to take a look at it and see what it looks like. Okay, so that actually looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and do a yarn over, and I'm going to do a chain, and then I'm going to go ahead and clip. All right, so let's cut, and we're going to leave quite a bit of tail here. Okay, let's go ahead and cut. All right, now I'm just going to pull this through. All right, okay. So now we can adjust our stitches so that they look nice and neat. And we're going to go ahead and close up our two rings together by simply making a nice square knot. All right, now we have our knot. Let's go ahead and make our knots for our antenna by just creating a loop and pulling it through on both sides. And then we're going to try to adjust it so that we can get them approximately at the same point. They don't have to be exact, but you do want to try to get them to be around the same point if you can. Okay, I think that's actually pretty good. So now I'm going to pull it and pull it. All right, so now I'm just going to clip it close to where my knots are. So we now have completed our beautiful Cro Tatted butterfly. I think it's beautiful. Congratulations. Let's go ahead and switch our cameras back so we can chat a little bit. I am back. What did you think? I thought it was wonderful. Now, I did leave in some of the challenges that I had, as well as some of the errors that I made. And the reason I did that is because I am learning and I am just showing you guys what I am learning as I go along. You may experience some of these things too. And so, if that's the case, you can at least see one way that maybe you can remedy that situation. All right. So, yes, we learned how to Cro Tat using a Cro Tatting hook. And we got to see how it is similar to or different from the previous ways that we showed you how to tat using the same pattern. All right. So this is the beautiful butterfly that I made. Now I didn't enhance the picots on here. So let me do that right quick so that you can see. All you need to do to enhance your picots is go in them and then just pull up on them a little bit. And in doing that, then you can see the beautiful picots because they will then stand out. All right. And you can do the same thing with the small picots. You just pull on them ever so gently, and you should be able to then see them. There we go. Okay. So I wanted to be able to show you the butterfly with the beautiful picots. All right. Aren't these just adorable? I think they are fantastic. All right. So this is the previous one that I showed you, and this is the one that we just made. I think they turned out great. Now, when you take a look at these compared to the other ones, I would like for you guys to take a look and see if you can tell any difference from the Cro Tatted butterflies versus the Shuttle Tatted or the Needle Tatted butterflies. I've seen a few differences in there, but I'd like for you guys to tell me what you think as well. I'm going to put photos up so that you can see all of them. And just let me know in the comment section what you think the differences are between the Cro Tatted butterflies and the Shuttle Tatted or the Needle Tatted butterflies. There are some differences, and part of it is the way we go about making them that makes those differences pretty noticeable, okay? But in any case, it is tatting, and it gives you an opportunity to still learn a beautiful skill and a beautiful way to make lace and all kinds of just awesome looking items. All right. So, Cro Tatting, who would have thought it's a thing? And also to think that it actually is new to me and probably many of you, but it's actually not a new thing at all. It's actually been around for a very long time. And I'm just so happy that I was able to take a look at it and try to learn how to do it so I can show it to you guys. All right. Now, if you've ever done Cro Tatting or Shuttle Tatting or Needle Tatting, what did you make with it? And when was the last time you tried? If not, go ahead and try one of these beautiful butterflies. And if you do, please send me a photo. I would love to do a shout out or just a slideshow of beautiful butterflies that you guys have made any of these three different ways that I have shown you. Okay. So yes, I would love to be able to see it. Now, that's all I have for this portion. Let's go ahead and take a look at the puzzle solution for the last video that included a puzzle. And this is what I came up with. And this is the puzzle for today. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate you for watching my videos, giving me a thumbs up, leaving me a kind comment, and the encouragement. I so appreciate it. I know that there are many things that you could be doing with your time, and I just enjoy spending a little bit of time with you and just hanging out for a bit. All right. So please do everything you can to be mindful, do everything you can to be at your best health. And by all means, guys, crafty every day. I look forward to seeing you again soon in my next video, or one of yours. Bye bye now.